Hey friends, welcome to today's session on vREST NG, and thank you for taking time out for this. My name is Dheeraj Agarwal, and I'm working as an engineering manager in Optimizer Technologies Private Limited. And I have been working in this company since 2008. And throughout my career, I have been part of multiple projects in this company. Today, I'm going to talk about vREST NG, which is basically a simple and powerful application for API automation. In this session, we will see how you may use vREST NG in your organization to reduce your API test development and maintenance efforts. So without wasting much of our time, let's quickly start the session. Let's first talk about how you can use vREST NG in your organization by looking at its major components. We have an architecture diagram. This diagram is also available on our website. So it has majorly three major components. The yellow boxes represents the major components. The first one is vREST NG application, which you can download and install on your system. And the installation process is quite simple, and every team member have to install it on their system. And it stores all the test data on your local file system inside a directory of your choice. So we recommend you to store the test data inside the source code repository, and this source code repository can be shared among all the team members. And when you push the repository onto any CI/CD server, then our second component, which is vREST NG CLI, comes into the picture. This component will validate your application build and store the results and publish the reports on the CI/CD server, and it will mark the build as passed or failed. Finally, our third component, which is vREST NG dashboard service, that is responsible for storing your test results history, and it is useful for reporting purposes. This is an online service. This provides beautiful reports to analyze your test case failures, and the reports are in real time, and they are shared among all the team members. Finally, vREST NG can be integrated with any ecosystem tools. For example, if you are using test case management tools like TestCell and Zephyr, you can integrate with them. If you are using bug tracking tools like Jira, Bugzilla, you can integrate with them. You can integrate with messaging or notification tools, and so it will save you a lot of effort in logging the Jira defects manually. It will make the communication easier among team members by providing them the absolute status history of your APIs, and it will save the manual effort of updating your test case status in your favorite test case management tools. That's all about the architecture part. Let's quickly move on to our application. We will discuss the first component, which is vREST NG application. So this is the vREST NG application, which you can download it on your system and install it First, we will look at the various options available in this application by looking at the layout part. So if you click on this vREST NG icon in the leftmost corner, top left corner, so this will open up the workspace area. Here you can define your API test case related projects.
Hi, Dheeraj.
Yeah.
Dheeraj, can we record this session? Is there any possibility?
Yes, we are recording this session.
So after the end, like at the end, can we get the recording? Just
Yes.
okay. Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Yes. Pankaj, are you recording the session?
Yes, recording is already started.
Yeah, okay, sure.
And Dheeraj, maybe you can switch on your camera as well so that people can view you.
I already started the camera.
Okay.
Are you able to see?
I am not able to see. I don't know.
Yeah,
okay.
You are visible.
Okay.
Dheeraj.
Okay, fine.
So this is the workspace area where you can define your API test case related projects. Then the test cases tab. to define your test cases. This tab contains three major panes. The leftmost pane contains the test suites and associated test cases. Then the middle pane, if you select any particular test case from the left pane, then the details will be visible in the middle pane. And if you execute the test cases, then the results will be displayed in the rightmost pane. Then the configuration tab is to define various configuration items related to your test cases. For example, test suites section is to define your test suites. And then authorization is to configure various types of authorization. For example, basic authentication, auth 1, auth 2, you can configure it over here, and you can use these authorization in your API test cases. Then environments and variables section to configure various types of environment. For example, dev, prod, and staging environment, you can configure it over here, and you can associate various multiple variables to them. Then utility methods is for writing scripts in vREST NG application. And with the help of this, you can invoke any method in your API test case at any place. For example, if you would like to send a random number in your API test case as a part of your request body, then you can just define your particular method over here, and you can use that method in the request body. Then the next section is the response validator, which allows you to define custom response validators. In most of the cases, you won't need this because vREST NG provides powerful scriptless suggestions. So, but for some specialized scenario, you can use this you can define your custom response validator in this section, and you can use this response validator in your test cases. The point is basically you will not stuck if you use or adopt in vREST NG in your organization. So if you have any complex API response, you will be able to validate it anyhow. Then the schema section is to define your JSON schema structure of your API responses, and you can validate your API response through the JSON schema as well. Now let's talk about the hooks tab. This hooks tab is a very powerful functionality of vREST NG application. With the help of this hooks tab, you can integrate your ecosystem tools like Jira, Slack, HipChat, or whatever ecosystem tool you are using. You can integrate with vREST NG easily with them, and you can configure whatever information you would like to send. You can customize as per your choice, and it will also make your microservices testing easier. Then the recorder option to record your API test cases. We have a Chrome extension as well to record your API test cases, and with the help of that Chrome extension, you can record the test cases of your web application by manually validating the web application, and this will save a lot of effort in recording your API test cases. Then the dashboard is to configure your dashboard with this project, and once you configure it, the results will be stored on the dashboard service as well. You can pause or start the recording by clicking on this button. Then the feedback option to provide the feedback at any point in time, and we have a docs extensive documentation for vREST NG. You can search any documentation. For example, if you would like to search schema validation, you can just search it over here, and you will be directed to that particular section in the documentation. Finally, I would like to share one more thing, which is we provide two themes for this application. You can switch the themes like this. That's all about the layout part. Now let's see how you can set up a project in vREST NG application. To set up a project, you can just click on this vREST NG icon area, and it will open up the workspace area, and it will show you the list of available projects. And you can just click on this area. It will open up a dialog window. Here you can provide the empty directory if you are creating a new project, or if you can add any existing vREST NG project by pointing to that particular directory. So for the demonstration, I'm creating a new directory. Say our project name is sample project, and to create this particular folder, we are creating this particular folder in the test directory of our sample test application. So let's open this directory to add this project into the list, and you can just click on this project, to open it in vREST application, and you can start writing your test cases in it. So this is how you can add a project in vREST application. Now let's see how you can create a test case in vREST. To create a test case, you can simply click on this plus icon available in the left pane. It will open up a dialog window like this. I have a sample API already to demonstrate the process. So this is the sample API which creates a contact on the server. Let me copy the details and I will provide it like this. This API consumes a post method. You can provide the post method like this, and you can provide the summary information so that other team members can also read it. Click on confirm button to create your test case. As you can see that your test case has been created in the sample test suite. The details of the test case are visible in the middle pane. You can configure multiple items over here. For example, if you configure the loop source, if you would like to execute this test case inside a loop, you can specify the condition if you would like to run this test case on specific conditions only. And we have local hooks functionality. So if you would like to execute any other request before and after this test case execution, then you can configure your local hooks. And this is helpful in your microservices testing. You can set up your on-demand mocks using this local hooks. Then read Excel file field is used to read the Excel sheet data if you would like to read the CSV data and feed that data in this particular test case, then you can use this read Excel file field. And then execute command field is used for executing a system command before the execution of this test case. So this is helpful if you would like to restore a database state before executing this particular test case. Now let's specify the request body for this particular test case. You can specify the request body in request body tab. I already have the request body with me. Let me copy it and specify. Suppose I would like to provide a random string in the name part. What I can do, I can simply invoke a utility method for this. I already have a built-in utility method, get random, and I can invoke it like this. And you can just save it. If we look at the validation tab, then you can see that vREST automatically creates a status code adjustment, which is comparing with the status code 200. You can modify this expected value to change whatever you would like to expect. Now let's execute this test case by clicking on this run single button over here. As you can see that the status code test case is passed because we are only validating the status code. Now let's validate the response structure of this particular test case as well, because the next step is to validate your response structure. So we can validate the response structure by providing the schema in the expected schema tab. So in the expected schema, I already have a JSON schema for this particular API. What I can do, I will simply copy this and paste it over here. So in this way, I can specify the expected schema. And if I run this test case, you can see that test case is passed. You will be able to see the execution history in the execution tab, what vREST has actually fired, the URL, the request body information, and the actual response which vREST has received. You will be able to see that particular thing. Now let's try to validate the API response content as well. To validate the API response, we have a button over here, generate expected body. You can simply click on this button over here and it will copy the actual response body in the expected body. So with the help of this, you can validate your API response content as well. Let me execute this test case. As you can see that the test case has failed because there are few dynamic properties which are changing every time when we invoke this particular test case. So the name property is changing because we provided the random string over here. So that's why it is changing, and created on an underscore ID property is always changing. So what we can do, we can either ignore them, or we can provide a regex, regular expression, to match this particular field, or we can use a variable over here as well. So for the sake of simplicity, let me ignore this property with the help of a special variable, or we can say wildcard or star variable. Let me ignore the name property as well. So you can ignore the property like this using the star variable. And if you run the test case again, you can see that the test case is passed. Now suppose if I would like to validate only few of the properties of this response, you have a very large response and you would like to validate a few of the properties, then you can use the star variable in the key part as well, like this. And you can just save this expected body, and if you run this test case, you can see that the test case is passed. Now let's try to add a more complex response. For example, if we would like to validate the list API, so let me first copy the URL field. List API also uses the same URL, same API endpoint, but the method will be kept. I can create the test case like this, and I can just execute this test case and generate this expected body. As you can see that it has generated the expected body like this. Now suppose in this complex array response, I would like to validate the name and email property of the first item and the third item. Then what I can do, I can simply use this by I can same procedure I can apply over here as well, like this. Let's say I would like to ignore the second item fully, then I can provide the star variable in the second item to fully ignore the second item. Then I can use the same thing over here for the third item. And the best part is, if you would like to ignore the rest of the items, then you can provide a double star variable over here that will ignore the rest of the items in the array. So you can specify your API response a expected body like this, and you can just save it. If you run this particular test case, you can see that our test case is passed. Now let's see how you can maintain this test case over a period of time. Let me purposefully make this test case failed. If I change this the name property of these two like this, and if I run this test case again, as you can see that vREST will provide the beautiful report, and it will provide the exact differences on which you were interested. So in this way, it will help you out to maintain your API test case over a period of time. And you can just click on this magic button over here. We have a magic button which simply copies the actual response body to expected body. It will fix your test case right away. You can just review your diff report, and if you think that your application, either your application, you need changes in your application, or if you need changes in your test case. If you need changes in your test case, you can just click on this button, and it will fix the test case for you. It won't change anything else. It will just change your the differences. It will apply the differences over here, and you can run the test case again, and you can see that the test case is passed. So in this way, you can develop your test cases very easily, and you can maintain it over a period of time as well. We also provide various other adjustments as well. For example, if I would like to add a JSON body adjustment for my create contact API, you can add a JSON body adjustment as well, like this. And suppose I would like to check the email property of this of my API response. So let me copy the email property. And I can provide the adjustment like this as well. So in this way, you can also provide the adjustment, but you can use the powerful expected body adjustment that will be more maintainable. So it will provide you the absolute results in the adjustment results tab, and it will give you the beautiful reports like this. Now let me provide an example of how you can validate an XML response as well. For that, I have a mock API written in vREST Cloud Server. So this is the detail of the mock API, which returns the XML response. Let me copy this URL field over here and provide a beautiful summary. You can confirm on this to create your test case. And I will again click on run single button and I will generate the expected body. So this is the expected body we received from the mock API. Now, if I would, vREST also provide the same kind of power in the XML responses as well. So you can use, for example, you can use the star variable in XML response like this. And if you would like to ignore the rest of the properties, you can use the star in the key part as well. And suppose if you would like to ignore some text as well inside a tag, you can use the star over here as well. So in this way, you can use the response validation in XML responses as well. And if you run this test case, you can see that the test case is failed. Now let me purposefully make the test case fail by modifying some of the text part. Let's say I will modify it like this. And if I run the test case again, you can see that it provides you the report, diff report as well for this beautiful diff report. And you can also apply the copy actual to expected button over here to fix your particular test case in XML responses. So it will save a lot of effort if you are validating your XML payloads as well. Okay. Now let's see how it stores the data on the file system as well. vREST stores all the data in a meaningful manner on your file system. So in the structured directory. So suppose the test cases are stored in the test cases directory, and environment related information will go in the environments directory, and utility method will go in the utilities directory, and similar schemas will be in the schema directory. So let's see the file structure in a code editor as well. Let me find out. So this is the data driven testing project, and if you see that this is the files, the test suite file will contain all the test suites and associated test cases, and test cases will contain the test case information, and each test case will have a separate file, and it provides you all the adjustments vREST has written over here. You can directly modify these files as well. So it will provide you the best of both worlds. You can use the code editor as well as you can use the UI. When you change in the file system, you can just reload your application in the UI to reflect the changes. And utility method, you can see that you can write your utility method. Your utility method will go in the utility section like this. So it provides a beautiful structure to your API automation project, and you can store it and version it in your favorite version control systems. Now, let me tell you how you can execute these test cases on the command line as well. For the command line, we have a command line utility named as vREST ngCLI, and run is the command, and you can specify the project directory like this, and you can specify your project. For example, I would like to validate the data-driven testing project. I can simply specify the project like this, and it will execute your test cases on the command line as well. And you will be able to see the diff report on the command line. It will provide you the same report over in the command line as well, and it will also show you the diff report in the command line like this. And let me show you a demo project over here. So this is the demo project, and if I execute this particular demo project, you will be able to see the results side by side by clicking on the specific test cases over here, and you can apply the copy actual to expected button like this, And suppose I would like to see only the failed test cases in it, I can apply filter as well. And you can apply on filter test status, and you can apply filter on failed. And like this, you can apply filter and it will show you only the failed test cases which are failed. With the help of this, you can quickly go on the failed test case and you can apply changes to them. It will save a lot of effort in applying, modifying changes in your API test cases. That's all I would like to share for this demonstration. And one more thing, I will just quickly go through how you can perform data-driven testing. I will take it for the next session, but let me explain how you can perform data-driven testing as well. So we have a sample project over here in with me. So this is the data-driven testing project in which we have some sample APIs, and these are integrated with CSV file which are on the file system, and it is linked. It reads the file data from the CSV file and it executes the iterations received from the file system, CSV file. Suppose if I run this particular project, as you can see, we have iterations in the rightmost pane. You can click on any iteration to see the results of that particular iteration. These iterations are picked up from the CSV file, and you can see the details of any failed iteration like this, and you can apply copy actual to expected. It will directly change your expected body in your CSV file. You don't have to change the CSV file manually, and it will directly copy the CSV file through the help of this button. It is picking up all the data from the CSV file. That's all I would like to share in this presentation. Now I would like to have your questions. If you would like to add any question, you can share your questions.
Actually, you can raise your hand. There is a feature in this, so that I will allow one by one to speak. So first question is from Subhash.
Okay.
Yeah, please speak.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So my question was, where would be the expected result? Like for validation, there should be expected result, right? So that we can match the actual and expected result.
Okay. So you can specify the expected result in the expected body, and if you would like to see where business can store this expected result, right?
Okay.
So this expected result is stored in the test case file. Let me open that particular. So this is the sample project which we just created, and these are the test cases we just created. We have create contact API, list contact API, and XML response. So you can open that particular test case file, and it will show you the expected body like this. So this is the expected body we provided in our test case.
Okay. So, is there any link between a Visual Studio Code and a vREST ng? Like how you are linking?
Basically, you can just modify this particular test, because if you would like to modify it in code editor as well, you can just save this file over here and you can reload this application. There is an option to
So,
reload application.
so
Okay.
these are pure text files. So you can edit in any other programming editor. It is not linked to VS Code.
Okay. So test cases they are like okay. Okay.
Yes, you can
Yeah.
see that the changes are reflected in this expected body as well.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Anurag has a question.
Yeah.
Anurag, you are allowed to speak, but there is a problem in your microphone. It says. Yes, you can speak now. Yes, Anurag, you can speak now.
Is my I mean, am I audible?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Okay, so my question is, Dheeraj, do you have? Can we do this setup on a remote machine and we can run it from a local machine to remote machine server? Is that, I mean, is there a way you can do that?
As of now, you have to install this application on your system, and if you would like to run your test cases, you can use our command line utility for that. With the help of
So
that,
basically, you can install it on a remote machine. It runs on Mac, Linux, and Windows. So and on a remote machine, you can run your test cases using the command line utility. But for
And
editing the test cases, you will need a user interface.
Dheeraj, if I compare it with Postman, right? Postman also gives this functionality of automating the test cases using the JSON, right? I mean, we can do that there as well. So how did different, basically, what is the difference between TestNG, vREST-NG, and the Postman automation which we do?
okay, the main thing, I think it provides a beautiful UI for you, and it provides powerful response validation capabilities. In Postman, you have to write your scripts, and those scripts, if you're writing for a large project, and they will you have to give a lot of effort in maintaining those scripts. vREST provides that absolutely out of the box. You can configure your response validation expected body like this, and you will be able to uh, apply the diff report. You will be able to you can just review your diff report, and you can apply changes in your test cases right away with just a click. It will save a lot of effort, and also you can integrate with any ecosystem tools. For example, hooks functionality. I have not provided all the details of this vREST application. In future webinars, I will demonstrate the other parts of this.
Anurag,
Okay.
basically, we are starting this webinar series. So, whenever you create a new tool, so
Hmm.
first expectation from people is that you should have all those features which are already there in other tool. So, basically, we have covered the features, basic features, which are already there in other tools. So in the upcoming webinars, we will, uncover more features. Then you will realize that this is much more powerful than those tools.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Shiva has a question. Shiva, you can speak now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, Girish. I have a question actually. I've gone through your the application and the pricings also. Okay, with respect to your Pro and the Community Edition. Okay, as a general user to the industry with this as a newcomer, okay, you can consider me as a newcomer to the web services. Okay, so what is the basic the difference you want to explain with the market? You have SOAP UI, you have the Postman. Okay, so how you can differentiate your application and your product to the other products in the market? Can you just explain that part? Because I've seen through your pricing listings also. I just want to understand how it's like as a general user within considering an open market and very huge in the market. So how you want to pitch that your product into your market?
Right. Basically, we designed our business application for the non-technical person as well. And anybody who don't have a specific technical skill like Java or Groovy, they can also use this tool right away. With the help of few clicks, they will be able to generate your test. They will be able to generate test cases. And we provide every feature as a seamless experience. Like if I talk about the data-driven testing, then you can integrate with your CSV file seamlessly. It will generate your expected body in the directly. It will directly write your expected body in the CSV file. So it will help you to write your test cases very quickly, and it can be used by any person who don't have a specific programming knowledge experience. They can use it. The basic JavaScript they should have to use this particular application as well. but you don't need to write so much code in this particular application.
Okay. So you're just supporting what kind of formats you're supporting? You just JSON. What are the formats you're supporting in this application?
JSON, XML, and JSON and XML are supported, and you can even compare the text responses, HTML responses as well.
Okay, so you're just providing all the basic formats, right? Yeah.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
So which other?
And the files are stored in JSON format, so you can edit those files in any JSON editor or a plain text editor.
Okay, thank you.
So I guess okay, Subhash has another question, and then Murugan also.
I have a feedback form. Can I share that with all of you, so that meanwhile we can fill up the feedback form as well.
Yes, Subhash.
Free or license-based?
Pankaj, can you share the feedback form for with all the
Yes, I'll share. Subhash, you can speak now.
Yeah, my question was that is it free or license-based?
Okay, so vREST comes in two versions. Basically, one is community edition, which you can use it for free, and even it provides
Okay.
the CI/CD part also free. And the other version is Pro version, which provides some premium features like if report is available in the Pro version, and like you will the CSV file reading you can do in Pro version, and you
Okay.
can you can have the indirect ways to read CSV file in the community edition as well, but to need seamless experience, then you have to use the Pro version. But the community edition is also powerful than other tools.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Dheeraj.
Murugan, you can ask your question.
Hi. How about the reporting format? Is it customizable? We have actually. I'm looking for kind of an automation report, which we usually share to the management or the clients.
Okay, I haven't talked about the dashboard part. So let me quickly show you the reporting part as well. So whatever execution you do on the application side or you execute by CLI, the reports are available in the dashboard service. You can configure this dashboard service, then the report will be available in the dashboard service. Where you will be able to see your session history like this. So you can just click over here and let me click over here. Okay, let me see this particular scenario. So this is the test run which we executed, and it will provide the same report which we are seeing in the VSNG application. So it will show you the adjustment report as well. It will show you the expected and actual response as well, and it will also show you the execution details of that particular API. So these reports you can share with any team members. You can configure the team members in the dashboard, and these reports are shared with those team members in real time.
Okay. Thank
Further,
you.
if you integrate any ecosystem, like if you are using Slack, then the link of these failed test cases will also be available in the Slack channel. You can just click on this particular link; they will be directed to the various dashboard service directly. They use the dashboard service.
I have shared a feedback form in the Q&A section.
Okay. I recommend to all of you to fill this form to share your feedback. It will really help me whether this webinar is helpful for you or not.
Okay.
Okay, so Dheeraj, we can. I think if there are no other questions, then we can wrap it up.
Okay. Okay. Thank you all
Soumya
for.
Soumya has a question. Yeah. Yes, Soumya, you can speak now.
Okay. So my question is like, if there is an application which is having like OAuth or any kind of cookies with authentication, so how will we handle in here?
Okay, for cookies, you can just specify your login test case. Let me share my screen. It was in the demo project. We have a test case for login. So it will log in into the target application and the subsequent step will be sent in subsequent test cases. And if you are using auth authorization, then you can configure your authorization in the authorization section, and we provide authorization for auth 1 and auth 2 as well. So you can configure your authorization here, and you can link that authorization in your test case like this. You can link your authorization like this. And it will use that particular authorization.
Okay, thank you.
Or even you can provide the authorization header right away in this request header section.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, Subhash has a question again.
Or
Yes, Subhash. Please
so where
continue.
to get? I was asking that can we get the recording of the session?
Yes, I will upload this somewhere, probably our YouTube channel. So and share the link with you.
Okay. Thank you.
Please do fill the feedback form so that we have your email IDs.
Okay.
So do you find the webinar helpful for you or not? You can share your experience right away as well.
Dheeraj, everyone is not allowed to speak because this software allows one by one only.
Okay. They can raise hands if they would like to
Yeah.
share their experience.
Yeah, Dheeraj, I found it useful, and I'll definitely I would like to try it for my API testing. In my
Great.
Thanks everyone. Thank you, Subhash, for your questions also.
Thank you.
So thank you all for giving your valuable time. It was nice talking to you, and I hope you enjoyed the session. Have a nice day and happy weekend. Good. Tomorrow we have International Day of Yoga, so do some yoga.
Yeah.